Well, guys, I guess you can't win them all, especially on the road in the SEC, where Kentucky went down to Texas A&M and lost in overtime, 97-92, in yet another roller coaster of emotions game. We had it, didn't have it, had a flurry of buckets, had a flurry of not scoring, and then whatever happened in OT, we will get to, but that was embarrassing as well. Just overall, wasn't Kentucky's day as they suffer their first loss in conference play to fall to 2-1. Good win for A&M, who is 0-2, gets them back in the conversation at 1-2. But I want to start here with my good friends Jack and Zach and the rapid reaction with just what nonsense today was. Because Jack, it looks like that is not Reed Arena behind you. I thought KSR had purchased you a nice plane ticket to get you down there to watch the Cats and Aggies. But unless you left and you're in some hotel conference room, that does not look like you're at the game.
Yeah, today has been a day of hell. Like, just being totally transparent. I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I got on the flight. I was sitting in my seat, and then the plane shut off. Like, it just went completely black. Everything went silent, and the flight attendants looked at each other and were like, "That's not supposed to happen." So I said, I'm getting off this flight because my game is in like 5 hours from right now, and there's physically no way for me to make it down to College Station in time. So I got to watch it back home with everybody else on my couch, and I ended up going to a family Christmas instead that was postponed due to various illnesses. So yeah, we have kids running around everywhere. So the change of scenery is giving me whiplash from what I was supposed to be as of this morning versus where it was. And I think the game kind of told just as much of the story of the ridiculousness as the life that I experienced leading up to this point. So yeah, it's just great day overall.
Yeah, well, as you got started on the wrong foot very early in the morning, it seemed to just continue with Kentucky and having the bad luck. As is tradition, they went and played a team that does not know how to shoot the three-pointer, but then they figured out how to do it against Kentucky. What was A&M, I think, 26% going into this game? I mean, right out of the gate, they're bombing threes. When Jay Billis said minutes into the game, he hits his first one. He was 0 for 8 before today. I was like, yep, that is exactly Kentucky basketball, Zach. That is exactly what we're looking into and what A&M end up with. 12 of 32, but really their two guards just completely lit us up. Wade Taylor was an All-American candidate in the preseason. Has not been up to that up to this point, but he certainly played like it today against Kentucky, Zach.
Yeah, like you said, Wade Taylor came in 0 of 8 last game, so of course he hit 6 threes this game. Texas A&M was bottom 10 in the country in three-point percentage at 26%, hit 12 today, second most of the season for them. It was just one of those games kind of for Kentucky. It was really just kind of two guys, though, like you said, the backcourt, Wade Taylor and Tyrece Radford. Those guys combined for 59 points. Kentucky just had no answer for them. And granted, good job for those Texas A&M guards because they hit some tough shots, but they hit a lot of open ones, too. Kentucky just played zero defense kind of overall outside of one Ugonna Onyenso, who I'm sure we'll talk about. The defense was just not there for Kentucky at all. And I think we're finally to the point now where, yes, we can talk about the defense being bad because you can score 92 points and still lose by 5. That's never a good sign. We had a bad goaltending call. It was just a weird game overall that started with Jack's. Jack, when the flight attendants don't know what's going on, that's when you know you're in trouble. Like me personally, if I'm ever on a plane and it feels like I'm in bad turbulence, I look at the flight attendants. If they're cool, I'm cool. But if they're like looking around like what's going on, that's an issue. And I feel like that's what we were all doing. We were all the flight attendants watching this Kentucky game, looking around like what's going on. We knew that something bad was about to happen. Unfortunately, us Kentucky fans didn't get off the plane. We just had to ride it out. Wow, I'm really killing it with these analogies right here. And then they just ended up losing in overtime. So I think they were 0 for 8, didn't score until 39 seconds left in overtime because Reed Sheppard hit a couple of free throws. He's clutch. We've got a couple of clutch players on this team. But before I go raining too far, Drew, just take us to our next topic here, and
Let's keep going. No, you were cooking. No, you were on fire there.
Well, I can talk about Hugo if we want. I can bring up some good signs.
He was a big story. We can go inside.
Great. Yeah.
You want to have that?
I want to go for it. So 31 minutes today, a season high, easily a season high or a career high. I think his next highest minutes was 20 minutes sometime last year. He had 31 Hugo did today because Aaron Bradshaw, to be honest with you, just does not know how to play defense right now to the point where he could not stay on the floor. He played a total of 6 minutes, had 4 fouls. Every time he was on the floor, it was 30 seconds before an A&M guy was going right at him. And Aaron has no idea that he can either A, just keep his hands straight in the air, which he does not ever do, or B, just go block it. You're 7 foot tall, you've got a 7 foot wingspan, just go block the shot. So he was unplayable for the entire game. Thank God Ugo came in and gave good minutes. He said yesterday at the press conference, he's like, good luck taking us on, driving against us. Good luck scoring on us. He got posterized pretty quickly, and then he came back and he had 5 blocks. I think he deterred at least another 5 shots, 10 rebounds, 7 points. So the guy was Kentucky's best post player today. Trey Mitchell was not any good. Justin Edwards had flashes. I think he hit 2 threes in this game, if I am looking at this correctly. Yeah, 2 threes for Justin, but just none of the bigs had made any impact. Jordan Burks came in for a minute and missed a dunk. So thank God Ugo was in this game, but Kentucky just didn't really have anything working for them really or on the defensive end outside of Ugo, and that's just ultimately what cost it. You can score 92 points, but you can't give up 97.
And Jack, we knew A&M's big advantage would be on rebounding, and it looks like they got them 54-46, 25 offensive rebounds. Really killed Kentucky there. They were going to need to win that battle to have a chance. I found it interesting, and I believe Cameron Mills mentioned this on the UK pregame show, but A&M really does like a volleyball rebounding, and at first I thought it was just one guy that did it, but it seems Buzz coaches that up. They're constantly tapping it around, tapping it out to guards who are coming to get it. I just found that was an interesting style for a team that lacked a little bit of size, but it worked. As I said, Jack, Kentucky got out-rebounded by 8, and that's part of the reason they're coming home with a loss.
It was kind of the same mindset we had going into the Florida game, where it was you just could not get destroyed on the glass. If you could compete in that area, you had a chance. And I liked the way Kentucky competed against Florida. I did not like the way they competed today. It just played right to the scouting report. And, Wade Taylor was a guy that he was due. He was somebody that is unbelievably talented, but his efficiency has just been terrible. He's been a high volume, low efficiency scorer all season. And it kind of felt like, and this was the preseason SEC player of the year. His time was coming. It was just, man, I really hope it's not against us. Unfortunately, he got hot early, hit some tough shots, and everything just kind of, I think he is one of 2 players in the conference where I think in all of college basketball actually to score 30 points against against a ranked team. He's now done it 3 times. The other 2 were the only 2 other times throughout the entire season he shot over 45%. He does it again today. It's just one of those, everything that was on the scouting report that we said can't happen for Kentucky, it unfortunately did happen. And you can't have Aaron Bradshaw struggle the way that he did. You can't have Trey Mitchell, missing shots, going 1 for 6 from 3. It's just everything on the scouting report that we said going in, yeah, let's avoid this when we have a shot. Unfortunately, they did too many of those things, and it results in a 5-point loss that just absolute heartbreaker.
So we got I get you all confused with your rhyming names. We got Zach's thoughts on the defense, Jack. What do we do? I mean, Missouri, not a great offensive team. They were getting buckets. You get 90 in regulation, 97 for the game here by an A&M team who, likes to keep it in the 60s. What happens when you play an Alabama and a Tennessee? Is there hope for this defense, or is Kentucky just going to have to continually try to get 100 points and outscore everyone that way?
Well, I mean, Texas A&M got 82 shots and scored 97 points. I don't know if there's another team in college basketball. Is Alabama going to go for 130? Like, I think this is kind of the bottom of the barrel, the worst that could possibly happen. So, obviously, something has to give. Like, it has to get better. I know on the rebounding issues, Cal, put a block on the rim and just said, we're not going to give up any shots. We're just going to do nothing but rebounding drills. I don't know what the equivalent of that. I know he did the lane slides and just, wall sits and kind of the old fashioned stuff. I just don't know what you do when I don't think it's a fundamental thing. I think they are physically limited as a cohesive unit in terms of, defense. So I don't know what the fix is there. And I think this may just be a team that you have to pull together just enough stops to outscore the competition, because I don't see an avenue for this team to go from, being a bad defensive team to a great one. Like, you just got to hope that they can be average. And I think that's going to be what carries this team down the stretch.
I'm afraid you're right on that. It's hard watching just guard after guard blow by them. Today there was some nonsense. Even Florida when they're banking in threes. But the on-ball defense is pretty atrocious and doesn't seem to be getting better. I want to thank all of our viewers for being a little negative right now after loss. We're about to have some fun. I'm going to ask Zach about overtime, get those complaints out of the way. Then there's a few positive things to focus on. Zach, what the hell happened in overtime? I mean, you lose sometimes, but didn't make a shot. weren't even fouling at the end. I mean, A&M's worst free throw shooter, they're throwing the ball into it. We have him trapped, and they're just doubling without fouling and letting him get away. It's just all systems failure from where I was watching for those 5 minutes of OT.
Yeah, there's definitely some questionable, or they let a lot of time run off, kind of, it felt like, in that last minute or so, just by not fouling. I don't know if it ultimately would have paid off or anything, but they just kind of forced some shots at the beginning of that overtime, and then they were just kind of playing catch up the rest of the way there. And they even got it, like Reed's 2 free throws, cut it down to 3, and they still had the chance somehow to maybe force this game into another overtime, but the defense just couldn't hold up enough. They couldn't get the stops that they needed. A&M even went 1-for-7 from the field in the overtime, but they went 6 from 8 from the free throw line, and that's kind of just how they won this game. Kentucky just didn't have any. I don't know what they were doing, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone really knows what the goal was there on offense in the end, because they were just kind of taking bad shots. And I'll be honest, I was kind of trying to scramble, write my recap, but every time I looked up, I saw just kind of standing around and bad shots going up. So I don't know what the goal was. I think Cal even said in the post-game press conference that he didn't really know what kind of was going on, and that he didn't really do a good job. So we can all bring it back to that goaltending call in the first half. That's why Kentucky lost. Yeah,
though I didn't want to lose it all on that right away. The 2 points. I hate saying the game. It really comes down to that, because that changes the situation. So I'm not at all saying Kentucky would have won with those 2 points or would have changed the outcome. But that was some nonsense, Jack. Taking it away later, where Onyenso clearly had the rebound and was dunking it in. There was 2 points on that possession regardless, but A&M gets the possession and Kentucky got 0.
I don't even know what the justification would be for. Like, I understand you have to take those points away, but what is stopping the rule from them just stopping play and saying, "Oh yeah, we messed this one up. Look at the continuation. We see Ugo have the ball in his hands. Let's just give the guy that had the ball in his hands the ball back." Like it
Kentucky had the arrow too.
It felt so easy in the moment, and then for it to unfold the way it did, and we were like, "They're not really going to do this." Whoa, are they actually about to go to the Yeah, they're actually doing this. And then as you just watch the clock kind of creep toward the end of the game, and you just kind of kept seeing the score, man, 2 points would look really, really nice right now. And then we get to the very end, regulation ends in overtime. We go to overtime. Those 2 points would have been so darn valuable. So yeah, I think it's just a ridiculous rule, and it has to change. I think Cal said something like, rules aren't going to change unless they favor other schools. They're not going to do anything that would help us. So do not expect the NCAA to change that anytime soon.
No.
Done.
We try to keep these reactions rapid. We're hitting podcast form here, but we got to talk a little bit about the good things. We're not just going to take a loss and go to bed angry. How about we'll start Justin Edwards took a little step forward. You watched our last reaction in that entire game. Really wanted more out of him. He had 8 points, did a lot of other things, was smiling, body language better. Zach, I know you were happy for him just as much as Big Blue Nation was after what he's been going through here recently.
Yeah, body language is actually what I was going to point out. It's not like he was rah, cheering everybody, but he wasn't doing the stuff he was last game where he had head down, head in his hands. Like, he hit 2 big threes. I mean, I think Billis said on the call that he was 2 of his last 17 coming into this game. So for him to go 2 for 2 today was big, I thought. But again, it's just the inability to put it together for an entire game. He had 22 minutes clocked, 8 points, 4 rebounds. Like, that's good, but Kentucky just needs more from Edwards. So I still thought he had a good game overall, though. It continues to trend in the right direction for him. The body language is better. It just has to be all put together for one 40-minute run.
Yeah, we had that, and then good assist to turnover ratio. Only 11 turnovers in that building. That's getting pretty normal with this team, which is shocking for a group of young freshmen. And then I know it was a loss, and it didn't really matter in the end, but how fun, Jack, was Rob Dillingham scoring 9 points in 64 seconds. Really 11 points there in a few minutes. They had taken him out after a layup. But 3 consecutive threes to tie it up and keep Kentucky in the fight. It's kind of like in that stretch he had before halftime at Kansas. Man, when that guy gets hot, get out of his way and let him shoot. There are no rules. He has the ultimate green light.
And then there's 28 seconds left on the shot. He milks the clock down to 10 seconds, and then he dishes it away to DJ Wagner with a chance to win the game. As that was unfolding, I was like, buddy, your hand is on fire right now. You are going nuclear. If there is ever a player that is going nuclear and has every right to shoot you know what, you deserve to take that shot, it's Rob Dillingham. I said to myself, whatever happens here, if Rob misses this shot, I'll live with it because he's the guy you want taking it. And then he passes it with 10 seconds left. It just didn't make any sense. And you got to blame DJ. You can't fumble the ball in that. Like, it's just a really, really bad play. But
bad pass.
I wish that Rob had been more selfish. And I just can't believe, thinking where we started with the Rob Dillingham experience, that there would ever be a day that I would say, man, I wish Rob Dillingham were more selfish, because you take what happens in that result.
I couldn't believe it. If there could have been a live bet on what Dillingham will do when he has the ball with 8 seconds left in that moment, take everything I have and put it on. He is not passing. And I'm good with that. Like I said, I wanted it. And DJ could have caught his bad pass, just complete failure there. But let me still have my joy from that run in regulation, those 3 straight threes. Draymond Green tweeted, give him the ball. Moments later, what does he do? 9 straight points.
Yeah,
Other than that,
I think it's because Draymond, he's just such a fan of the leg kick that he's become Rob Dillingham's biggest fan, because Rob has the leg kick on his 3. So I think those two are a match made in heaven, except, I like Rob staying more calm, cool, and collected than old Draymond.
That was a great call on the leg kick there at the end. I thought great officiating there, back to back on the foul, on the 3 on each side. Any Adu updates? I know he didn't play. Obviously, did Cal say? I haven't heard Cal's comments. I'm sure he broke it all down.
Really in depth.
They need him.
I think in pregame he said testing. We're getting testing done. So there's your Adu update. We're testing. But other than that, Cats went down to A&M, suffered a loss. It happens. It's tough to go on the road in the SEC. They're a good team. Those are good guards. As we saw, completely lit Kentucky up after not shooting like that all year. That's how it goes when you're a Kentucky Wildcat. But they will move on. They're back home. They have 2 in Rupp. Well, we got a little Mississippi State on Wednesday, then Georgia, I think, Saturday. So a couple get-right games at home. Win those. Have some fun. Maybe the defense improves. Huh? Can I get a thumbs up on that from somebody? Anybody? Defense improve? Nobody? Okay. Well, we'll keep rolling on. 2-1, heading back to Lexington. We're going to sign off here from the KSR's Rapid Reaction. As always, subscribe. Listen to Jack's stuff on Sources Say. We got Zach doing a little floppy action. Read all the stuff on KentuckySportsRadio.com. And don't let this loss get you down. This is still a fun basketball team. They're going to be all right. I'll take them against anyone else. Heading home, we'll whoop Mississippi State and forget all about this and be just fine. But for right now, we'll see you later. Go Cats.